was a loner, you were a goner. I never wanted fairy tales. I was distracted, you were impacted. I never practiced fairly well, and it took too long. Where did I go wrong? Now I'm too far gone to turn back. It was an accident, it was a lie. Even through the blackness I can see the light. You were ammunition, shotgun by my side. We were at the wrong place at the wrong time. But you were by my side, body had a side. Now it's looking done, now I'm on the run. But if I look around, nowhere to be found. But if I'm going down, I'm taking you down with me. You were by my side, body had a side. Now it's looking done, now I'm on the run. And if it's going down, if we're going down, if I'm going down, I'm taking you down with me. Yeah. And you didn't trust me, should have been just me. I've always known you don't play fair. Back on my own now, cover is blown now. Thought you should know now, I don't care. You were an accident, you were a lie. Even through the blackness I can see the light. You were ammunition, shotgun by my side. We were at the wrong place at the wrong time. But you were by my side, body had a side. Now it's looking done, now I'm on the run. But if I look around, nowhere to be found. But if I'm going down, I'm taking you down with me. You were by my side, body had a side. Now it's looking done, now I'm on the run. And if it's going know sometimes so long ago. I just need somebody to call my own, yeah. Lying in my bed, I feel your hands on me, they're everywhere. But it's just a dream, it's all in my head. Scared to be all by myself, always and forever. I need to lose the demons from the past. Why can't I recover? I am waiting for love. 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 My friends, they're telling me, go out and lose control, just let it be. Instead, I'd rather meet you in my fantasies. More and more I get, I wanna feel alive and not regret. Even though it hurts, I can't go back. Scared to be all by myself, always and forever. I wanna lose the demons from the past. How can I recover? I am waiting for love. I am waiting for love. I am
作为2019年9月由 MS 和 LST 合并后成立的新赛区 ，PCS 赛区成立以来展现了稳健的赛区实力，始终在国际大赛上拥有一席之地。2021年 BYG 战队是 PCS 冉冉升起的一支新秀，初崭露头角便一鸣惊人。而 BYGA 战队有着更为年轻而热血的灵魂。同时，队内也拥有经验丰富、老道的选手作为中流砥柱，在比赛中稳定军心。希望 BYGA 的队员们如同队名一般，超越阻碍、超越困难、超越原来的自己，拿下本次2022亚洲挑战者之星邀请赛的好成绩。J-Team 战队前身为台北暗杀星，拥有 S2 世界冠军的2016 MS 夏季赛甫一登场便技惊四座。此后一直是赛区的夺冠热门队伍之一。作为一支拥有祖上荣光的老牌豪门战队 ，J-Team 将以青春姿态迎接此次2022亚洲挑战者之星邀请赛的挑战，能否突出重围，且看今朝。2022亚洲挑战者之星邀请赛是亚洲地区首个英雄联盟次级职业赛事。作为东道主的 LJL 赛区，此次将由夏季赛总冠军的 FPB 战队、亚军 EDGY 战队、季军 MAX 战队以及虎牙主播队伍代表 LJL 出战。在刚刚结束的 LJL 夏季赛的比赛中 ，FPB 在季后赛中从败者组一路击败劲敌，强势夺冠。经验丰富的辅助老大哥乐乐，以及状态神勇并拿下 FMVP 的青带领队伍干脆利落拿下属于他们的第一个夏季赛总冠军。如今这支手感火热的队伍以1号种子的身份进入亚洲挑战者之星邀请赛，他们又会谱写怎么样的历史？让我们敬请期待。以2号种子出现的 EDGY 战队，虽然在夏季赛决赛比赛中惜败，但这支充满热血和冲劲的年轻战队，在本赛季依旧打出了强硬的实力。下路选手 Liv 斩获了夏季常规赛 MVP，EDGY 将在亚洲挑战者之星邀请赛中延续他们的骑士精神，展现出来自于新秀的力量。MAX 战队作为一支具有威慑力的队伍，他们凭借快节奏的打法风格，在 LJL 夏季赛中拥有一席之地，成为代表赛区的第3个种子。他们这种极具鲜明凶狠的打法，是否能在亚洲挑战者之星邀请赛的舞台上发挥出他们往日的威力？我们拭目以待。最后一个战队是来自虎牙的主播队伍，在虎牙主播选拔比赛中，这支队伍拥有丰富的游戏理解和轻松的队内氛围， 最终在4支虎牙主播队的厮杀中脱颖而出。主播队与其他战队的相遇将会是本赛事的一大看点，他们也将会在 ASCI 的赛场上一展身手。LJL 赛区队伍已集结完毕，期待他们在 ASCI 赛场上大放异彩，不留遗憾。受邀参加本次 ASCI 的 LCK CL 队伍是农心、DK、T1 和 KR Streamers。农心在2022年有着极为亮眼的表现。春天伊始，农心一路鏖战，以2场激烈的 BO5杀出重围，进入决赛。虽然春决3比1憾负 DK， 但随着夏天的到来，独属于农心的火热能量也与日俱增。农心在下决与老对手 DK 相遇，以完美的让2追3，在联赛史上创造了属于他们的奇迹。作为 LCK CL 的1号种子，期待农心在 ASCI 中碰撞出更为激烈的色彩。作为农心的老对手 ，DK 在2022年连续2次进入 LCK CL 决赛，创造了队史。夏季赛 ，DK 不仅经历了选手轮换的阵容调整，更在半决赛时面临着前所未有的考验。队员们由于身体原因状态不佳，最终艰难支撑着与对手打满5局，挺进决赛。虽在决赛中先下2城，但最终因为农心的火热状态而遗憾告负。即使 DK 未能延续春天的胜利，但他们用自己的韧性获得了观众的掌声和尊重。相信经过了状态的调整，这支经验丰富的队伍会在 ASCI 上大放异彩。如果说农心和 DK 是季后赛的胜者， T1 则在常规赛有着统治级的表现。T1 以春季赛常规赛排名第3进入季后赛，却在季后赛第1轮被农心淘汰。T1 在夏天展现了更为神勇的竞技实力，常规赛拿到了小场26胜10负的惊人战绩，在以实至名归的排名第1步入季后赛，但在半决赛中依然输给了老对手农心的手上。春天的失意在夏天上演，但展示了 T1 成长的步伐和百折不挠的决心，期待他们在 ASCI 上能够有更精彩的表现。KR Streamers 是本次赛事韩国赛区唯一一支主播队伍，他们以独特的打法组成了一支锐利的队伍，随时准备在 ASCI 上大显身手。4支各具风采的 LCK CL 队伍会在 ASCI 上贡献什么样的精彩操作？让我们共同期待。
원딜이 아직 남아.
아니
근데 레넥톤이 없는
환경
레넥톤이 무조건.
아리 골든선. 지연의 주인공 너스라도 possible。卡利在后面抢了个乱，看一下后续，在一个随目标的松特 Q 在第一时间把这个伤害打完了，哇，这一波伤害划满了 ，C 库，该交闪都得交，还是一对两个，青赛跟上去，猴子拿到了领先，蓝色方点塔就拿下比赛的胜利了，
恭喜 FPP 拿到了他们队史的首个冠軍。
さあバロンをやってるんじゃないかと思いましたが残念後ろからモモがやってきてメガナアルティメット盗んだスキルレリとネッティがヒットしてただ影のがヒットしているがストレートは一時ただ来撃オーランが綺麗にヒットしているリキがそのまま倒して周りもまでただここに対してはエンズマンさらにはミナルの吸収によってレレが暴れているうわいけるアルト一気に4キル獲得残った赤いに対してもレレが登場してキュアドラキルだ
ta có thêm phi hổ và bằng lời này là kích hoạt hỏa của liên xạ anh ta có mạc tiếp tục
Lạc giành nó lại bên Kimber lao vào sâu hơn cùng các thương tất nhanh sâu tương gửi luôn. Em tức mình đang silo được bắn được phía sau anh ta tới chân đến 3 người.
sang đánh dấu sự trở lại.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Asia Star Challengers Invitational. We have yet another
Hello， 各位屏幕前的英雄联盟的召唤师们，大家下午好！欢迎各位收看2022 ASCI 亚洲挑战者之星邀请赛的比赛现场，我是主持人宝宝。那么今天呢，已经来到我们本次赛事淘汰赛阶段的第4个比赛日了。同样呢，会有一场精彩的 BO5 对决在等待着大家。那么在比赛之前呢，先跟各位分享一些资讯。本届赛事是由拳头游戏、腾讯体育、魏晋文化联合主办，感谢腾讯云独家视频直播的技术支持，感谢独家直播合作伙伴虎牙直播的大力支持，感谢独家媒体社交平台微博的大力支持。上微博关注英雄联盟发展联赛，参与2022 ASCI 话题讨论，将有机会赢取赛事奖励以及战队周边，一起来为我们的选手们加油助威吧。那么今天对阵的双方呢，分别是来自 LJL 赛区的 MAX 战队以及 PCS 赛区的 BYGA 战队。那么将在他们当中呢，决出最后一支晋级到4强的队伍。到底最后一席的荣誉将花落谁家呢？也让我们一起期待了。那么接下来时间就让我们有请选手登场。首先，让我们欢迎 BYGA 战队，欢迎上单璞玉、打野人野，中单1116、下路风，辅助 TNS。再次欢迎 BYGA 战队。好的，那么接下来让我们有请到的是 MAX 战队登场。让我们欢迎上单 Garvey， 打野 Kenny Chen， 中单 Mad ZZ， 下路霞光，辅助心魔。再次欢迎 MAX 战队，请我们的选手们进入对战席。
I'm gonna see if I can lower the stream volume. I promise you guys I am talking as loud as I can. So
好的，我们的双方选手已经准备就绪，对决也将一触即发。2022 ASCI The Up and Comer 兴起之秀，让我们一同进入今天的第一场对决。我们把画面交给解说席。
see if that lowered it a bit, maybe too much. I think. Okay, here we go. Let's go into the discussion anyway. Hello everyone. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yes, I am choosing to get up at 2 a.m. to share my birthday with you and these lovely teams. I am very excited about Max versus Beyond Gaming. I think it's going to be the closest quarterfinals of the 4. We saw Beyond Gaming go 6-0 in their group. I think that the relative level of competition in their group overall wasn't that insane or that high quality compared to some of the other groups, but it's still a huge performance by them. I think 1116, for those of you who are not familiar with him, he was Mawan at the last World Championships. Let's refrain from the memes, you know, a little bit of the memes, and just kind of stand in awe of some of his performances, picking up a lot of those MVPs throughout the tournament so far. Max has been extremely fun to watch. I think the key to taking on the LDL teams, as we saw in Max and Edward Gaming Youth Group, is basically to ban the Draven and deal with the fact that they are playing extremely hard for bot dives and those types of setups within the tournament. Once again, we are on 12.16. So I think that this will be a big focus going forward. Is just still a lot of teams going on these bot lanes, snowballing these AD carries. Obviously, one of Max's best performing players is their jungler. Kenny Chan has been a big standout. I've also quite enjoyed Meds, particularly when he's played the Talia. It's been quite strong overall. So I've enjoyed seeing a lot of good performances out of him. It looks like, as we were saying, the featured matchup is the 2 mid laners. Makes a lot of sense. 1116 has been a huge performer for Beyond Gaming Academy. And of course, Meds, or Max's mid laner, brand new to the LDL. This is his first team, I believe. Really showing a lot of promise. So I think we're seeing basically the damage percentage on your screen right here, first and second in the entire tournament. So once again, this is out of 16 teams. Both of these mid laners being huge factors in the successes of their team so far. Yes, 1116 is indeed Mawan. Once again, Mawan from the PCS previously. He was on the BYG main team for the World Championship. Allegedly, he was given a second chance from his ownership group and placed on the Academy team. So here we get to see him play today. I do think, if you remember him from the World Championship, his performance there was a little bit below the standard if you watch the BYG games domestically. So I'm glad to see him kind of performing towards that standard again, especially in this event. But that's going to be where I naturally look, is once again that mid lane matchup, and also looking at a little bit how the junglers are going to be enabling those mid lanes to succeed. And as we already said, look, right out of the gate, we've got the Draven ban. We have seen a lot of these LDL teams really demonstrate that they know how to effectively snowball that Draven pick. So it's been something that's very difficult to deal with if you don't have a plan going forward. And most teams, you know, within the Max and Edward Gaming youth group, just had to go ahead and ban it. And there is that first pick Talia that I was talking about as well. So going to see 1116 play that Talia. Very good at getting the priority in the lane and then either facilitating or enabling additional bot dives. Interesting to see the Renekton, also very high priority in this tournament, coming out right away, and the Yuumi. So Yuumi is not typically what I think of when I'm thinking of the LDL performances so far. They have played it, but I'm thinking a lot more of these kind of snowballing bot lanes, etc. Remember, on this patch, about halfway through, Yuumi did receive a hotfix buff to her Q, so she's more of an artillery mage. Expecting a little bit more poke coming out of whatever lane they choose to pair it with. Max and BYG have gone a lot for some of these like Sivir, Zeri trades, so expecting to see that coming out. I remember also BYG picked like the Ashe into the Callista. I think that for the support position, so I think instead of dealing with the Callista pick potentially being first pick, or them picking it and having BYG come out with the Ashe counter, they just went ahead and denied it. So we are going to go ahead and see that Zeri Sivir trade and that Aatrox Renekton trade, both very common so far. The way we've seen a lot of these matchups go is Renekton doing decently well if they have good snowball setup into the top lane. Also, I think Renekton, when you're seeing Renekton Taliyah, Renekton picked as a denial for the Renekton Taliyah combo. I don't know if it's kind of, I'm using my stream mic, which theoretically is a worse quality mic. What I also did was I put my laptop all the way on one side of my desk, and I put my microphone all the way on the other side of the desk in front of the monitor. So I'm just gonna stare at this monitor. That's the game on it, we'll go from there. But getting back into the picks and bans, we have Trundle and Sejuani taken out. So Sejuani being very strong to enable these types of melee heavy compositions. I don't know if she'd do as well for the Aatrox side as she would for the Renekton side. A lot of that guaranteed, you can 3-camp into guaranteed Renekton stun, follow up from Sejuani, and then just take out the top side. But we're seeing that tonight as well as the Trundle. Actually, kind of surprised. Trundle was banned by BYG in 1-2-3 very frequently throughout the group stage. So I'm guessing the fact that they've opened it means that they are a little bit more confident in potential answers that they have to it. Regardless though, we're not going to get to see that this game since Max have banned it out and instead picked up the Vi. So Vi also very common picked into the Zeri. If you guys watched the LPL, which I'm guessing you did, this is the LPL Twitch channel. We saw Vi priority very, very escalated in the LPL playoffs and the LPL regionals. So much so to the point where teams would first pick the Vi and then let the enemy team pick the Zeri and then just think that Vi became a very, very effective counter into the Zeri. So seeing Max come away with the Vi Yuumi feels very, very flavors of LPL, flavors of LDL. So expecting that to be the overall game plan coming through. Also, interestingly, we haven't really commented on the Taliyah-Sivir interaction yet, but I'm expecting that to also play a big factor when you see, ooh, nice, Malzahar. Malzahar I appreciate a lot. Malzahar is a champion that, you know, you might say this is ridiculous, but after after basically first back, Malzahar can consistently have enough mana to maintain push in a lot of lanes. Oh, okay. I got baited, guys. I thought it was locked in. Never again. Instead, we are going to go ahead and see the Galio. So the Galio is a little bit surprising, but it once again fits into that identity of playing to side lanes. Maybe they're picking the Galio to match the Taliyah late. So if Taliyah plays to one side, Galio follows up. Very obviously, Galio also has the magic damage shield and can follow up pretty easily, effectively on that, or trade HP to try to counter push. I think that Galio is not as strong as we've seen Galio be in past iterations, but still an interesting follow-up and combos very well, importantly, with the Vi. I think the Amumu being picked up, we saw Even Shroud basically being slightly buffed on this patch as well. Amumu with the Even Shroud combo has become extremely popular. A lot of lockdown and proccing the item passive there. So, looking overall holistically at these compositions, I do like the answers that Max brings to the table on Zeri. I think Zeri becomes a little bit difficult to... Oh, I don't know. Sorry, my monitor flickered for a second. There's a bit of a panic attack, but we're good. Expecting there to be a slight counter to the... a good setup in terms of countering the Zeri overall. And then, of course, we have the Sivir, who we've seen very commonly can just scale, get to a point. You have the Yuumi. Overall, looking at that particular setup and answer, I think that Aatrox for BYG here is going to have a hard time kind of getting on to these characters as well. But with the exception, obviously, of the Galio Vi. So Aatrox, if Aatrox gets off the ground, can be a very good answer to the Galio Vi. But overall, I think that Aatrox is not going to have a lot to do versus a champion like Yuumi or a champion like Sivir in terms of setup. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the stakes of this match. We have on the top side of the brackets, we have Edward Gaming Youth and Funplex Phoenix Blaze coming out on top in their quarterfinal matches respectively. Last night, if you guys were watching, Mizel cast the KR streamer team against T1. Then you know that T1 won that series 3-0. Very fun series. You can go ahead and watch that on the LPL YouTube channel if you have not yet. But the winner of this series will go on to face the T1 Challengers team for the semifinals. So both of these teams are playing for that spot. Okay, a little bit of level 1 shenanigans just to get some early initial vision. This should be a little bit useful since, once again, like Talia wants to heavily attempt to push in this lane. Also, we know that Renekton side, very typically if you're playing with Sivir Yuumi, your jungler is going to path towards the top, and you have a Renekton top lane, your jungler is going to path towards the top and try to play top side for the Renekton. Looks like Galio does manage to get the push, probably trading a little bit of HP. Yep, looks like just a little bit to make sure that he can aggressively get the wave in and get Ward and Land Rush. Alright, looks like once again we mentioned some of the poke being able to come out, so Sivir early on with level 1 Q, and then Yuumi with their projectile on her own Q can actually be a pretty effective poke combination on the current patch. Hope everyone is having a lovely night, by the way, just before we get into the thick of this series. So, as expected, as we already discussed, we do have Kenny Chen pathing towards the top lane. The implication of basically Renekton getting ahead here is we're going to have to see the Renekton, especially playing against the Talia Zeri, look to, if he gets the snowball off, right? Oh, as we look a little bit towards the bot lane, should not come to much of anything. However, no, not even a freezable wave, but it does reveal Renya's position. I'm not quite sure like what exactly the goal of that flank was. Maybe just to prevent Galio from fast pushing with a Q on that creep wave to get the wave in effectively, and securing bot side River Vision. They do feel slightly pressured to maybe make something happen in this lane, knowing that Vi is going to be looking top. But I feel like Aatrox, with the amount of wave clear that Puyu has on his Q combo, should be able to keep himself relatively safe in that lane from any kind of level 3 shenanigans. He's quite healthy, right? As you see, full HP. Not a lot of trading happening on his end. But the overall implication, if Renekton gets ahead, is being able to hold that flash for dragon fights, look for really good flanks, and play through the side lane there. I think overall, though, the team fighting that should come out of Max should be stronger in general, but they do have shorter range champions. So a setup like Funk and 1116 on the Talia and Zeri should be able to kite out if they can. It's a lot of agency is going to be, as we already said, on that Kenny-chan meds Vi Galio combo to try to go super deep into the backline, lock down Funk, and allow Garby to like flash follow up on top of that. Alright, so River Vision is being maintained topside by Max and bot side by BYG. Absolutely nothing too surprising happening so far. In terms of what I expect to happen from this, I don't think this invade seems a little bit questionable, but they do have vision on Renya, so they know exactly where he is, which makes Kenny-chan feel a bit bold to come in. Pink ward dropped onto that bush. That's usually typically like on the edge of that bush. Typically you can get any vision if the raptors are covered, so he should know if 1116 tries to peel off of the mid wave and collapse on him. And of course, he gets a reward from a cheeky little pink ward clear. And top lane, trading pretty aggressively here. I'm guessing that both Renya and Kenny-chan are going to feel like they want to beeline up here. Both ultimates popped from Garby and Puyu, so we don't have the World Ender or the Dominus. for any altercation that should come through. And it looks like if the wave's in a pretty good spot for Puyu, looks like it didn't quite crash. So this should force Garvey's TP to come back out. Looks like Garvey TP's mid. Interesting, interesting. Garvey's TPing mid. Looks like Mets might be looking box to see if they can fight this crab, but nothing comes of it. Puyu's gonna push this wave out all the way, and then if he wants to have his own timer, right? He's going to be in a position to roam mid or look for deep vision. Get a little bit maybe of relief from the fact that Kenny Chan's been placing a lot of attention towards this top side. Honestly, Puyu is doing a very excellent job. I would say that Garvey is not playing this lane as kind of focused on creating volatile traits outside of what we did see with both of them low HP, but not at the time where his jungler is topside, right? So he was making the lane extremely volatile while Kenny Chan was looking for that Raptor invade, and well, they knew that Renya was on that top side on the ward that they had placed there. So a little bit of smarter laning coming out of Puyu. Very nice to see from BYG Academy's top laner. In terms of teleporting mid, I feel like they were going to have Renekton cover the wave mid. And then going to have Med's flank. I didn't quite see the wave. I thought that Aatrox had it frozen on the top side, but since Aatrox pushed it out all the way, it did give Garvey kind of that window to look. And alright then. I wonder if we're going to I don't think we're going to get a replay of that. That was just a little bit we'll just say that Sivir Q did more damage than expected and leave it at that. Oh, and we're getting a fight on top side. Puyu does pop the World Ender. It looks like we're going to get the not the grand entrance, the heroic entrance out from Galio. But Puyu and Kenny Chan trading these kills 1-for-1. Renya back on the Rift Herald. Looks like both bot lanes are making the play here, but Feng and TNS are here first, which means that this Rift Herald could very easily just go over to BYG. Garvey coming in, he does not once again have that dominance. Just gets a little bit of a knockout from 116, but Med's attempting the flank. Nice follow-up from Garvey and Xiaoguang. BYGA looked like they had a bit of a call to disengage, but oh, flash over the wall from 116, and the cute follow-up means that they at least get a little bit back for the side of BYG. Looks like BYG made the call to disengage after the Rift Herald, just get it and get out, and Max managed to get there on time with a combination of the Sivir on the hunt, flank coming out from Meds to get a little bit of a revenge for the 1-1, and some extra gold back in their pockets in exchange for the Rift Herald. I think overall it depends on how well they managed to use this Rift Herald as to whether or not BYG came out ahead of that. But right now it's favoring, to me, Max a little bit, just because if you look across at the lanes, there isn't an extremely straightforward lane to use. Okay, and we're going to get a replay from the flank from Mets. Nice setup with the Ghost and the taunt coming through. Max is the LDL team. They're the LDL 3rd seed, which is why this is potentially the most interesting and evenly matched quarterfinal. We have the 3rd seed from the LDL coming in, playing against BYG Academy from the PCS. BYG Academy, by the way, were the only team in the Asia Star Challengers Invitational to go 6-0 in their group stage, so that's very exciting. And they did have a Chinese team in their group, though it was the Huya Stream team, not an LDL team. Yeah, for those of you who are not familiar with the Huya Stream team, they had a Beifeng, the Kiana, like the world-renowned Kiana player for mid lane. They have been eliminated by an LDL team. I believe Edward Gaming U. Yes, I think so. So they're no longer in the tournament. Won't get to watch them, but we do have kind of a little bit of LDL pride on the line in this match, since it is Max, the 3rd seed LDL team, trying to make sure all 3 LDL teams advance to semifinals. So far, both of the other 2 LDL teams have won their matchups. Both Edward Gaming Youth and Fun Plus Phoenix Blades. Looks like we're going to get a little bit of cheeky shenanigans coming out of BYGA. Disengaging onto Meds, and Kenny Chan is isolated. We do get the Galio ulti. A little bit more damage, but Aatrox coming in with the flank. This should be a twofer. Oh, nice play from Meds. Getting the taunt out. Quick damage onto 1116. A little bit of outplay there, so good exchange. I think both by Renya in the setup in terms of like being able to disengage the Galio initially, and Kenny-chan and then Meds with the follow-up with the heroic entrance and getting the taunt and flash over the wall to trade 1-for-1. The LDL, kind of like a lot of the European regional leagues, has both academy teams from the main league and also additional teams. So here we go. We had basically the Poppy ulti to disengage. Follow up from Meds. Let's see how he plays this. He gets the taunt onto all 3 members. A little bit of a Q and then just a flash over the wall and lunges out of range. So actually very well played from Meds. Alright, they do end up dropping the Rift Herald mid lane. That's very common when there isn't a straightforward lane. I started talking about this a little bit, but when you look across to Renekton, who's very comfortable like creating HP for wave clear because he can sustain extremely effectively. Sivir with the Q and basically boom ricochet available is able to clear the wave very, very quickly also, and then even Galio has a lot of wave clear 2 tools. It's not too straightforward to drop the Rift Herald to try to set up a play and get a full tower, so instead we're just going to look for some mid lane turret plates, a little bit of gold coming in through there, so good setup. And if that's the overall takeaway, is that they zoned Meds off of the tower, managed to grab some plate gold, then I think it's not the worst play setup, even if it did end up not going as favorably as they would like it to. Looks like Renya is here. Nice Keeper's Verdict knockup, but not going to amount to anything. Mini ults blown, so we do have both the flash and the cleanse as well as the heal coming out from Max's bot lane, but a lot of ults blown. They do manage to get themselves out of there, and if Sivir wants to play this lane like ultra safe from here, just clear out the wave as it comes in, it's not the worst for her. She's doing extremely well. Got the Kraken Slayer picked up off of that top Rift Herald fight, a little bit of a gold advantage, so if Max are in a position where they're very much kind of wanting to fight, right? The Renekton's got a Bork coming out, as well as some toe-plated, steel-plated toe caps. You know what? They're Ninja Tabbies, guys. We have Galio with a completed Night Harvester, and Vi, Galio extremely strong, basically, on this breakpoint at the moment. Able to just pick out one of these squishy members, so either Feng or 1116 can be very good targets. Alright, so this is going to be a little bit of a... we see Renya managed to get stunned and knocked into the wall off the tower. Oh, not quite enough damage. Kenny-chan might be in trouble now though, but Garvey is here with the Dominus. Garvey does have flash available if he needs to flash on top of... there we go. A little bit of a stagger there. I saw the angle, you know, Kenny-chan buying a lot of time, but it seems like a lack of coordination, a lack of planning there. And Garvey wanted to get the AoE and the flash stun off after he popped the Dominus, but Kenny-chan was already safe, so The goal of that play was maybe not clear to everyone involved in it, but ends up coming up ahead for BYG. Alright, so BYG managed to get the tower, so let's see this here. Looks a little bit like Meds might be baiting, just because he knows Kenny Chan's coming up. They don't have a lot of vision though, so it's possible they have no idea what's going on. And Kenny Chan goes in, but then gets completely out, and then Garvey flushes in. Oh, it's a disaster, guys. It's not great. But let's see what comes out from here. It looks like BYG Beyond Gaming have a fair amount of vision control around the Rift Herald. Rania is just gonna start that off. I'm guessing that Garvey and Kenny Chan are just gonna be content to trade that for a tier 1 bot turret as well as the Hex Dragon. You know, not too bad. Max stacking some Drakes. They're on the second one. Technically, Max are a bit ahead of tempo here since they have 2 members on this tower. Puyu might be able to effectively just, has ulti, can just get this wave, so it's not going to amount to much, but they will grab some camps. Worth noting that Renya did sacrifice basically the side of the jungle where his camps are spawning in order to make this top lane, to secure this Rift Herald. So once again, we're asking ourselves, you know, where is the most effective lane to drop this Rift Herald? Where are we going to get the best gold advantage trade off? I would say, you know, mid lane turret's a short little sneeze away from falling down. Bot T1 might be a good one, and Dragon's up 4 minutes. It's a bit tight, right, to drop the Herald Eye for bots, but if you can get the bot T1 down beforehand, then that increases your general overall control on vision. Looks like we are looking for a play on Garvey on bot side. Keep his verdict knock up. And goodbye. So once again, as soon as we see Meds showing on top side, obviously no TP available, just a Ghost Flash on this Galio at the moment. Dropping the Rift Herald on bot side, so they are going to get this bot T1 as we were discussing, and go ahead and extend that vision control around bot side, which will let them have way more control when they have to contest this third Drake, right? So Max, their next Drake coming out will be Soul Point for them. So BYG Academy very much want to make sure that they have enough control to prevent that from happening. They have 3 minutes though, so still expecting them to kind of pivot or seesaw towards the top side. Shargon cut out a little bit here, but shouldn't amount to much. We have the heroic entrance coming in. Feng now taking the exit out from the Raptors. A little bit of HP traded, but no summoners. Alright, so Shegong playing a little bit risky here, but does have the spell shield available. It's a slight bluff. No one saw his entire team go topside. Kenny Chan coming in with the ultimate. Renya has a ton of HP though. It takes a lot to take them down. But I like how Meds is just standing there, you know, casually clearing out some vision, killing some plants. And Kenny Chan and Shimo are all in on Renya. Are you done yet? Are you guys finished? So obviously both teams know that this Baron is being started. Kenny Chan taking way too much damage there though. Yumi can kind of sustain up a little bit for Kenny Chan, but I think they maybe didn't expect it to take as long as it did to do a significant amount of damage on the Baron. I liked the thought process, you know, jungle's down, we can get the smites, we'll be in a good spot, but not quite the Baron play we're looking for here. Alright, so now we have bought a fair amount of time till the next Infernal spawns. I'm expecting both Max and BYG to focus a little bit on the next top wave to make sure they get that all the way in. So I would argue, you know, 116 pushed it in maybe one wave early, maybe would have stalled it out a little bit, but now they're going to focus their attention on bot side. Perhaps sacrifice the T1 turret for this Drake, which I think in their position it's a little bit reasonable. They don't want Max to get that soul point. But Kenny Chan looking for the pick on Defeng right away, followed up by the Galio heroic entrance once again, and Garby is already in position for a flank, no flash required. Has that flash set up still for the Drake. 30 seconds up until the next dragon, which means that there's no way that BYG have time to get to that dragon. But you know what Max are saying? Max are saying, we don't need the dragon. You know, people are down this long. We already have 2 dragons of our own. If we give one over to Beyond Gaming Academy, it's not the end of the world. We're going straight for this Baron, going to get this push potential. We don't have a lot of long range on our champions, so if we want to siege towers, we definitely need this Baron. Making that decision and going ahead and securing the purple worm. Really nice kind of identification of the situation from Kenny Chan. Really good setup from Garvey in order to get the flank angle. Very, very just good 1-2-3 punch combo coming out from Max there. They might be looking to face check this. I don't know if this is the smartest use of their time. Yes, Xiaoguang in trouble. Talia Weaver's wall over the wall there. Kenny Chan forced to flash out. Nice from Meds and Shimo. Is Yumi broken or what, guys? And everyone falling down. Nice. Again, follow up. What is the cooldown on that? Is that like 3 seconds, man? Look at Meds. Taunt after taunt after taunt, knocking this one out of the park for his team. That mid lane matchup was our featured matchup, and Meds is constantly just outplaying these situations, making the Galio pick work for his team, turning around what looks like a losing situation with Xiaoguang caught against the wall into a win, and looks like Garvey's going to take this top. They're going to take this 3rd dragon. Everything is coming up Max here. Looking very, very good against them, against this first PCS team. Alright. Kenny Chan once again looks like he bit off a bit more than he can chew, but this flash taunt managed to get onto 3, I would say 4, but one of them was obviously using the stopwatch. Then we had follow from Kenny Chan once again, manages to get back into the fight, so very good play overall from Meds. Having an exceptional match on this Galio. I'm wondering if it will be a ban coming through for Game 2. Alright, so I look away for a second and we're already fighting again, guys. Sorry about that. Off on the job. Weaver's Wall, just to get out for 116 as the only lone member of Beyond Gaming Academy remaining. This could be a win attempt for Max, but you know, I mean, killing Maoan is also a valid focus. No wave available anymore, so they're probably just going to take this top in hip, recall, and then look for another push later. Okay. We've got another wave in. We're going to take the mid T1, the mid and hip turret. We know that at least 116 isn't out for a bit, but Rania has now officially respawned on our screens. See, we've actually only had 1 3-0 series, guys. We've had 2 3-1. So Kenny Chan, once again, so I think Kenny Chan's entire role this entire game has just been to look as tasty as possible. Because every time he goes in, Beyond Gaming is saying, you know what, what's for dinner? Collapses on top of that Vi. Vi buys enough time, and then we have a gigantic 4-man Galio taunt to follow up as per usual from Meds. So, I don't know. I think maybe Beyond Gaming should start thinking, if Vi is alone by herself, perhaps she's not actually alone. But at this point, of course, you know, you're 11 to almost 12k goal behind. You're not thinking too much about the risk. If someone looks like they're alone, that might be your only chance to get back into this game to stall out what seems like an inevitable win from Max at this point. So you're going to jump on any opportunity you can, even if it feels like they've fallen for this trick before.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Alright. Weaver's Wall coming out behind Max. Oh, nice attempt by NTS. Getting the initial initial Q and flash off, but no one even goes down for that attempt. Garvey zoning Renya off with the Dominus, excuse me. Once again, 116. The star of the BYG show falls down, and we've just got a nice clean closeout for Max. So, as we said, star featured matchup of today was mid lane, and Mets coming out on top in this one, looking ever the bit like the MVP. We'll see how it comes out. This rookie from the LDO, very exciting to see him coming up and looking so strong on his team, especially against a player who's already been to the World Championship. Yep, this is Max's very first, this is Meds' very first team. He was a sub mid laner for spring of last year, and then going into summer of last year, he started on the starting lineup. So he's been about, and it was like very end of summer. So this is about his first full year of competitive, right? His first full year of competitive, looking very impressive so far in the first ever Asia Star Challengers Invitational. Really excited to see what happens and what adaptation comes out from Beyond Gaming and then going in next. I think a lot of times teams in the LPL in this type of situation, they would actually choose to ban the Vi, or they would choose to prioritize the Yuumi instead. Maybe not pick the Zeri blind if the Vi is still up. So that's an adaptation that we see a lot in the LPL into Vi comps. Also, first pick Vi, you know, it's not the most insane. I think that there are a lot of times where you first pick Vi, you have an Aatrox, you have something like a Poppy. It seems like there's a good answer to the Vi. But Vi is looking like a menace, especially if you're picking the Zeri, especially if you have a Galio follow-up. And I think that's been the big difference maker in this match. It's just the fact that when the Vi goes in, you have the buff resistances from the heroic entrance following up. And of course, Garvey has actually been no slouch from some of these flank angles. Been underrated performance from him. Even though I think Puyu got a little bit better of him in the laning phase. Alright. Looking like we are in a good position to see some adaptations coming out from Beyond Gaming. I do like the idea, right? You have this was like a very smart play setup from BYG, but just watch, you know, once again, I think this is going to be our third time watching this play for Mets. The 3-man taunt into killing 116 and the flash over the wall. Very nice. Very good at target identification and full commit. You know, had the Zeri a little bit out of position there. Good follow from Garvey. And 80 carries and greeting midway position, right? What can you do? And this was probably the play that everyone's going to remember the most from this game. Flash over the wall into what looks like a 4-man taunt, if not for the Zhonya's Hourglass from 116. Follow up from both. I mean, basically Meds just walks out and Shima with the Yuumi ulti. He's like, oh yeah, you guys can't do anything. Waiting for the follow up, the return from Kenny-chan again. I'm wondering if, you know, I think it's very possible to give either Mets or Kenny-chan the MVP in this game, but I'm expecting it to be Mets. This was almost a good play from TNS. TNS gets the ulti off. They just don't have any of the damage to follow up. it was a nice attempt, a nice look at an ulti and follow up from there. A nice look at a desperation comeback play, but they were just way too far behind at that point. And I am guessing we are going into break here in a bit. Oh, okay, we do get the MVP. It is going to be Shima. Okay, that's surprising. But hey, you gotta give a nod to the Yuumi. He did have a good performance in that one highlight play with the flash of the wall from Meds, followed by the Yuumi ulti that kept everyone in position for the follow-up by Kenny Shanks. So, well, not the worst. And Yuumi definitely enabled a lot of those deep engages. It was a combination of the Yuumi sustain as well as the heroic entrance from the Galio that managed to keep Kenny Chan alive in so many of those situations. So. Props to Shimo. Though I definitely am surprised by that decision. But you know, you got to give the Yuumi lovers a little bit, you know, every once in a while. Well, that should be the match. We are probably gonna go into break, and I will see you all in about 5 minutes.
Cut my teeth on the concrete, down an old alley on a back street. Hard knock life in the city grind. Gotta work hard, running out of time. But that's just the way it is. 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 So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me for my mistakes. So taking as much as I can take. So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me for my mistakes. Taking as much as I can take. Street light lit down in the grid. Can't turn back when I wanna quit. All of my tears, all of my fears got me shook up through all these years. And that's just the way it is. 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 So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me for my mistakes. So taking as much as I can take. So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me for my mistakes. Taking as much as I can take. Don't you judge me. Don't you judge me on my mistakes. I said, don't you judge me anymore. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me on my mistakes. I'm taking as much as I can take. So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me on my mistakes. I'm taking as much as I can take. Taking as much as I can take. Taking as much as I can take.
everyone, and welcome back. We should be getting into Game 2 of Beyond Gaming Academy versus Max shortly. If you are just joining us, this is the Asia Star Challengers Invitational, which features 5 different regions, similar to the EU Masters, but instead we have the LJL Academy, VCS.B, PCS Academy, the LDL, and the KR Challenger Series. Today we have the last of 4 quarterfinals between Max and Beyond Gaming Academy. So very exciting. If you missed game 1, Max managed to take it. They had a good strategy for using Vi, Yuumi, Galio into a Poppy Aatrox comp with the Zeri, specifically targeting the Zeri, obviously. I would say that this is a strategy that if you're familiar with the LPL and you are a frequenter of this LPL English channel, you've seen quite a lot. I'm guessing that we'll either see a Vi or Yuumi or potentially even a Galio ban coming out from Beyond Gaming, or they will change up their strategy and not blind the Zeri. Actually, in the group stage, we frequently saw Beyond Gaming picking their AD carry second, so it's possible that we'll see a little bit of that today. They are, however, on the red side, and typically on the red side, we do see the AD carries picked on the 1-2 slot. So a little bit hard for them to counterpick the AD in this position. I think the Wukong first pick, very common on this patch, very common between both of these two teams. Wasn't available in the last scenario. If Max still want to go with the Galio follow-up, still pairs extremely well with the Wukong. If the Wukong is picked though, Zeri is still an option. Zeri, with her E, has the option of basically avoiding the Wukong flank engage. A lot more mobility over the terrain, not as guaranteed of a lockdown, so instead they're going to go ahead and trade off for the Renekton Sejuani combo. We talked a little bit about that last time. Sejuani actually can, in this setup, 3-camp into Renekton, and the Aatrox trade. So Max coming out with the Aatrox this time. They had the Renekton in the last game. Garvey finding some good flank angles on that one. And we do see Beyond Gaming pick up the Zeri. Interesting that Max have prioed the Sivir first. So usually we're seeing the Sivir picked into the Zeri if the enemy team picks the Zeri first, but looks like Max just really happy grabbing that Sivir. And then Beyond Gaming going back to the strategy that they used frequently in the group stage, counter-picking or picking their 80 seconds. Galio is taken off the table, so they are aware of the Wukong Galio combo being as effective as the Vi Galio combo. I'm guessing that they might look for a Nautilus ban as well, since that's extremely effective usually with the Zeri pickups. Is just banning the Nautilus, a very frequent choice into the Zeri for a more guaranteed lockdown. I think in this position, since so much of Max's composition is short range and all-in based, Renekton does pretty well or pretty effectively against that. Aatrox will do well against it as well, but Zeri especially will find a lot of ability to kite, so if I am Max, right, I'm thinking a lot about what I can pick here that's going to give me some lockdown for the Zeri. They did ban the Renata, so it's possible that they are thinking about some of these all-in picks. Renata, because of her ultimate, does extremely well into a lot of all-in compositions. They're also banning the Lulu, which common with both Zeri or the Sivir. Interesting that would be the choice to ban, when I think that Zeri will actually be fine into a Sivir comp with the amount of poke that Zeri brings. Lulu doesn't typically do that well in the poke, but they are just straight up blinding the Taric. Did not expect that at all, but Taric does extremely well, again, into some of these all-in compositions, so this is a smart choice. However, blind Taric is pretty risky. He doesn't do that well in landing phase. His level 1 is quite potent with the initial stun, but overall, kind of a bold choice here. TNS with a couple of good plays in the last game, throwing down the gauntlet, saying, you know, Shimo, you can get an MVP, I can get an MVP. Yeah, so we are expecting this double poke lane to come out against the Tark. He's going to have a hard time against that. Or excuse me, not double poke, but a lot of poke coming out against the Tark, and a Sivir Karma is what I'm guessing with the Seraphine support. Or Seraphine mid. I'm expecting that setup, but it could also be a Karma mid, technically. But I am expecting it to be a Karma support. And then Akali looking to... So Akali is an interesting choice as well, since Akali can get behind, get a good flank angle onto either the Seraphine or the Karma and knock them out. So if you're playing against the Seraphine, one of the better strategies is to heavily side lane, to look for avoiding like these 5v5 scenarios, which if you have a lot of enchanters, if you have the Sivir, if you have the Wukong, like your 5v5 is extremely potent, right? Even if the enemy team also has a Sejuani Renekton and a Zeri. So you're looking for like some kind of other option, going for a heavy side laner like Akali, someone who can assassinate one of your enchanters instantly, like an Akali is also good. Still, you know, you have tools on the side with the Seraphine and the Karma to get some visibility on Akali and her Shroud, so it's not the easiest matchup, and into the lane phase against either of them, Akali's not going to have the best time. But because of the durability patch, post-durability patch, she'll have a lot of tools to kind of survive the lane phase, sustain up, manage to still farm in the situation. I think I do quite like the idea of Beyond's comp, but I also think Max's adaptation by picking the Seraphine Karma is really nice. Like, having poke into a Tarek lane makes him a lot less comfortable. Also, you have a ton of all-in coming out, but Seraphine Karma will give you the option of disengaging and re-engaging, which is usually really difficult with something like an Aatrox Sivir, but you can basically drop the shield if Tarek is popping ultimate, and then basically disengage the fight and re-engage the fight, following up with the Seraphine ulti, so that will allow you to kind of wait out the duration of the Tarek ultimate and continue the fight like that. So I think that there are definitely options that I think are attractive and interesting for, like, the Karma Shield plus Wukong ultimate is going to be a very, very potent combo. Though having the Renekton with the empowered W to kind of kill shields, also nice. So yeah, with the double range bot lanes, you usually like to have a lot of wards. It is interesting that Beyond Gaming is the one that gets the lane ward, since typically you see the Karma lane looking for the ward in the second brush, trying to get that brush control so that they can poke for free. Okay. But yeah, if you're not face checking into the Tark, the level 1 from the Karma should be a bit stronger. And of course, Seraphine is going to be a bit more effective in the early lane phase than the Akali, just because of her ability to poke, get wave priority, so a little bit more onus on this Max side to get snowballs off around bot or to control bot. Stuttering and picking the wave. That wave, they can't really freeze it off tower, so it will go in eventually. Zeri, pretty decently long attack range when you compare it to the likes of a Sivir, but obviously a Sivir are going to have a lot of range with both the Boomerang Blade and the Ricochet. I think there's a lot of emphasis on choosing what's a better draft. I think that there's ways to play both drafts. Both drafts have like a lot of outplay potential in them. I think this is going to be a really interesting and fun game to watch. I think if Akali manages to do well and get out of this lane phase, then you're going to have a lot of potential to find ways to get behind, get good flank angles, and eliminate things like a Seraphine. So you lose a lot of disengage and re-engage potential when you have a Taric ulti popped. A lot will depend on like the timing of the Taric ultimates and how well, you know, the poke lane with the Karma can punish the Taric. The blind Taric I think was a really interesting choice. Okay, meanwhile we have Beyond Gaming building up this big wave. We talked about how it's possible to just like 3 camp into gank top. It's not what they did, but they did build a huge stacked wave. They're just gonna, this dive should effectively just work, but oh my goodness, Puyo taking so much damage. Garvey with the outplay. Not quite going well for Max. They invested a lot into this topside play. Kenny Chan going to be able to effectively just get the farm on the top side. The split map not necessarily coming through as effectively as they want it for Beyond Gaming. So yeah, that didn't quite go as Beyond Gaming planned. They didn't quite get the connects done into the follow-up. But Garvey coming out with the flash and picking up the kill is really nice for them. Also doesn't miss out too much on the waves that were like the big stacked wave crashing into the tower. That's usually the utility, right, of stacking multiple waves into the tower, is that you kill someone, and even if the play doesn't go quite that well, you know, you're denying at least a little bit of extra CS or forcing a TP. And Garvey doesn't really have to burn the TP until, well, obviously now he's burning it because he has a ton of gold. Coming back to lane with a full-on steel-plated, toe-plated, whatever. Steel-plated caps. Ninja tabbies. Chat, I'm consciously making the decision to call them Ninja tabbies for the rest of this year. Alright, stacking up a little bit of the stun onto Kenny Chan. Nice setup from Taric. I didn't see how that play started, but I'm guessing Shimo face checked into the brush and managed to get stunned by the Taric. No, Taric flashed, it looks like. Looks like Taric flashed and ignited. A lot of damage. But once you commit like that, right, if you don't get the kill off, a lot of the poke damage comes out from Xiguang and Shimo. If they had managed to get the full kill off with the flash ignite burned, then that would have been worth it, but not quite the damage. It didn't look like Feng was like right in position to completely follow up there, and then Shimo stays alive. And now you have Sivir and Karma with range advantage able to keep poking you down when you have a relatively low HP and you don't have any flash available for your Taric. So a couple of plays attempted by Beyond Gaming so far, not quite panning out. Max able to get the resets off. Come back to lane, the Xiaoguang coming back to lane with a call. Well, she already had a call, but you know, able to just comfortably stack up that call, play to the Doran's blade that Feng has available. So again, like these small incremental advantages coming out for Max. Garvey just standing in this wave just off tower, thinning it out, preventing the effective crash. Doesn't really have enough creeps for freeze spots. Interesting that he's just like sacrificing the 2 CS there. It's a little bit odd. Building up a slow push perhaps. But Puyu's just gonna get these creeps and push the wave in, so that's a little whatever. I'm not gonna overanalyze it. We're here to have fun, guys. Aatrox can definitely do relatively well in this fight. I think that he doesn't necessarily want to play into like the Sejuani Renekton in the middle of the fight. Doesn't necessarily want to play into the Taric ultimate. So once again, a lot of time he's going to depend on the use of the Taric ultimate. Akali can also do relatively well in side lanes, and it looks like 11116 is doing very decently in this matchup, right? And once again, we have the siren call of the Rift Herald, 8 minutes on spawn, being pulled by Beyond Gaming. Tarek went ahead to go mid to try to get priority for the Akali. Both supports, though at this point, like, Tarek is still level 5, right? So a lot of times you'll see the Tarek go mid to try to get farm or try to get XP so that he can get ulti early. It looks like that didn't happen. The Tarek's just going bot completely. And, you know, not many advantages were gained by Xiaoguang and Shimo choosing to stay bot. Beyond Gaming just get a free Rift Herald, and they're feeling pretty good about that one. Though 20 CS down, oh, I thought they didn't get that much, but they did get 2 full plates, so actually that comes out quite really nice for Max, actually. They got 2 full plates off, 20 CS, about, I mean, I guess like 15 CS up on the server. So, generally speaking, I'm feeling good about that for Max. It looks like Tarek tried to go mid, tried to get the XP for the level 6 advantage, and then they ended up sacrificing 2 plates for it. He didn't end up even getting the 6, so I don't know if that was a miscalculation on the CS, or if he just showed on the mid wave to try to get the push, or he thought that Karma would also match, and then Karma didn't. But either way, they do end up getting the Rift Herald, but they lose 2 plates bot for it, which isn't the best, and Tarek's a bit behind where he wanted to be. He does have the level 6 now, so if they want to choose to fight the dragon, a little bit of a trade coming top shouldn't really happen. Shouldn't really amount to anything in this position. Even if Renekton pops Dominus, Garvey can just back off, grab the wave. But Renekton does get priority for this, walks down to the dragon. It is looking pretty decent for Max so far, despite, but Beyond Gaming have pulled up that Hex Dragon. Pretty good value for a single Hex Dragon. Might be something that can edge them out a little bit in some of these fights, especially level 6 Tarek fights, before Seraphine feels extremely oppressive, right? But 3 plates now taken for the bot lane for Xiaoguang and Shimo with this poke lane setup. Both teams have, I think, pretty decent late game drafts overall. I think it really just depends on how you outplay the situation. Like, I think a lot of times people will overly index and say, like, the better late game front to back comp is always going to be better, but Akali has a lot of options for solo assassinating a Seraphine. Like, the Seraphine will be extremely oppressive and hard to take down in fights and allow for a disengage even after the Tarek pops ultimate, and then a re-engage basically from the Super Karma, depending on, basically it's just like, if Max hard commit first and then Tarek pops ultimate, you have to be very careful on how you're playing that out, because if you get stunned, caught out by the Renekton, if Akali gets a good flank off, then you don't have an option to continue playing out the fight. If you're not burning everything at once, directly into the Tarek ultimate, you have a lot of options for basically disengaging the fight with either a Karma Shield or a Seraphine ultimate, and then re-engaging after that. Right? But we do grab a couple of turret plates. Gold is going to be pretty effective on the Akali. I think she has a lot of options for 1116, can be the hero of this game, just by creating a lot of side lane pressure and being able to get super deep flanks that don't allow Max to get the fights that they want. Also, some people might point out, you have the Empower double W from the Renekton that will enable the killing of shields, but really difficult to get Renekton to stack Fury and then get into that position to just like kill all the shields perfectly. You have to be, you know, super smart for Renekton. But he does have the option of maybe like stacking some Rage Bar off on one flank and then flashing into the fight. But with the range of the Seraphine and the Karma, it might be a little bit difficult to execute. Sejuani ult doesn't really connect. We do get a little bit of a snare off from the Seraphine, but just a love tap, if you will. I think Zeri with the range can potentially carry, but there's a lot of sustain. A lot of her damage that comes out is going to be poke based. And the other thing that's in Zeri's favor is the lack of like really significant lockdown that Max have. Like they have decent flank angle, decent sustain, decent poke, but they don't have a lot of lockdown to just obliterate the Zeri. That's I think something that's really missing in their composition. Oh, okay. Puyu wins these. Nice. They do pull the teleport from 1116. 1116 is trying to get a little bit of something. Renya comes in. Combination. Okay, nice. Stasis coming down, but we do see Kenny Chan falling. Another stun coming through. Okay, Garvey over the wall with the Q. All up on the chain. Alright, Puyu in the thick of the fight. The sustain of the Q's coming out. Oh, this is a close one. And Garvey and the Meds come out ahead. And unfortunately, right, this is coming at the same time, and you would think that Garvey and Mets coming out ahead, being able to just slightly get the edge in the fight, should result in something happening bot, but instead we've got, and then let's just see Mets, once again with a clutch stopwatch. Garvey managing to get the flash over the wall, immediately kills 1116 with low cooldowns available. Let's see this exchange from Puyu. Man, it basically starts with the stun. And, just, I don't know. I felt like a lot of those slices and dices and those Qs didn't connect with meaningful damage. So Garvey was just able to space himself off at the edge of the fight and take out the Puyu. Well played. The Puyu, take out the Puyu, take out the Renekton. Well played by him. BYGA Gaming didn't really play that top skirmish well after Puyu joined, but you know, I think the initial setup from 1116 and Renya was alright. They just couldn't get on top of Mets. Alright, Xiaoguang having to pop on the hunt to get out of the scenario. The ultimate from the Sejuani does not connect. Now the tables are turned. Okay, Taric ultimate coming out, but I think they should... Oh, Shimo goes down, and the Taric ultimate expires. Big world end coming in for Garvey on top of both 1116 and TNS. Wow, the sustain for the Seraphine coming through. This is going to be a gigantic Aatrox, ladies and gentlemen. I am already really terrified for BYGA Gaming here coming out, but we did see a little bit of the interaction that I was talking about where, you know, if Taric comes in, pops the ultimate too early, then it's really easy for Max to effectively turn the tables, disengage and re-engage. That's exactly what happens. So Shimo sacrifice came through. Xiaoguang has to pop on the hunt, so maybe BYG think this is a good situation for them. Xiaoguang overextending perhaps a little bit there. Nice flash stun coming out from the Taric, but I don't know if I would follow up with the ultimate there. I think that ultimate was like a little bit early there. And then Garvey just getting a really nice flank all the way in the back line on the 5. A significant amount of damage on the 1116 and TNS just right off the bat, and still has the world ender popped basically with the reset off of the kills and just cleans up the fight completely. Feng not able to E over the wall and get to safety. But yeah, I don't think Beyond Gaming's draft is that bad. I think the Taric blind was bold, but other than that, I think a lot of good things, a lot of interesting and creative things in this draft. If I see like Aatrox, Wukong, Sivir, I'm thinking Taric, honestly, but yeah, I might want to wait to see the enemy support first. Beyond Gaming looking to trade back this tower, even as Max drop the Rift Trail top, see, and go for the second T2 mid. So this is definitely going to be a trade that favors Max, but Beyond Gaming, they're in a position where they don't really necessarily want to run straight at Max. It's never something that they really want to do, so trying to take small incremental trades is okay. Kenny Chan could be in trouble, but I think overall this should favor Max. Yep, he goes down. Don't know if you guys want this follow-up fight right now. 116 looking for the flank. Maybe he'll see something juicy. Shuguang still has the spell shade here. And then look, they're just calmly disengaging after the Taric ulti is popped. So got another like overzealous Taric ulti, if you will, coming out of TNS. Garvey just getting the cleanup kill onto the support for Beyond Gaming Academy. I don't know if he'll, I mean, he has flash available. He should just get this. Sorry. He basically just like calmly is auto attacking. Plays that maybe one of the worst ways possible and gets the kill anyway. It's fine. If I'm Beyond Gaming, I'm like the dog, you know, in the fire, the little comic. Oh man, though they do like, it's not bad to try to get the shutdown on the Aatrox, right? Like they did secure the shutdown on the Aatrox. That's quite a bit of gold. All right. It's a significant. I mean, if I am in Beyond Gaming in this position, right, I don't necessarily want to be giving away like almost 3 towers for that play, but shutdown on Aatrox is nice. Oh, Meds getting a little greedy for some Krugs. This could be the turnaround. Oh no. Okay, well, that overall coming out ahead for 1116, but I could see it flash before my eyes, right? Before the kill, I was like, oh no, he's actually just gonna die under tower here. Mistakes were made, but he does get the 1-for-1, so I'm gonna take that, right? From 1116. That's a good one for me. I mean, I'm getting slowly accumulating some shutdowns here, right? Getting a little bit of gold. If I can translate that gold into like 2 items and then get a really nice, be able to beat like Garvey in a sideline, then get some nice flank angles set up. Oh, Garvey, speaking of, out of position once again. No blast cone available, but Kenny Chan coming in with the follow-up. Kenny Chan flashes over the wall, but it's Cyclone. Cyclone! Sorry, I'm not a play-by-play caster, guys. Apologies. Oh! Okay, W should keep BYG at bay, but once again, like these are small incremental trades that as BYG I don't mind taking, right? We'll probably get a replay on that fight again. A lot going on there, but starting out with Garvey a bit out of position. Really good capitalization and follow-up by BYG. The fact that the blast cone wasn't available for him. So here we go. Rania coming in, starting off with the ultimate. They get the follow-up stun. Garvey having to pop the World Ender early. Kenny Chan has a good flank by separating Funk from the fight, so Funk's not able to do like a lot of damage here, but does get over the wall. TNS, I don't know if Taric is his pick, man, but they do get Garvey in, going in deep, manages to flash on top, gets a little bit of a trade kill, but I think overall, like Beyond Gaming, it was a good situation for them, right? They got a couple of kills off. They saw Garvey out of position. I think Kenny Chan zoning Fun was very good for them. I think TNS, if he had held on to the ultimate a little bit earlier, managed to stay a little bit healthier, That could have been a really nice, strong fight from BYG, right? Especially since Max were forced to flash over the walls. They were hard committing there. And if the Taric ultimate is available, that's like a pretty scary situation for them to be in. But so far, you know, Max feeling pretty good. Xiaoguang picking up a lot of gold. Garvey looking like the world-ending menace that is the Aatrox. I once again though, I don't mind the way 1116 is playing this. He has the third highest amount of gold in the game. He's just picking up shutdowns. He's picking up little turrets in the side lane. This could be the a game-turning flank angle. Ultimate does get on top of Mets, but no stun connects. I don't know. Taric ulti is good. Taric ulti is good. 1116 manages to take them down. Garvey's in the perfect position for an Aatrox. Garvey and Sivir on the hunt, chasing them down. Couple of good kills for 1116, but overall, Garvey in the middle, in the thick of this, with that World Ender available on hunt, allows them to turn the fight on the hunt. Allows them to turn the fight and pursue, hunt down the remaining BYG members. But I really do like the creativity, the thought from 1116 there. Almost a good situation for them. Garvey just too strong. Look at this. Now 1116 goes in. Doesn't really connect the ultimate onto anyone, unfortunately. But manages to take out 2 before Garvey, just in the middle of the entire fight. The Taric ultimate duration expires. I mean, buff Taric, I guess. You know, it's a call out. Ranya is targeting, could potentially use a little work. Ranya, just Ranya's doing his best. But you know, it's all fixable with more practice. Oh, when you're Sejuani, getting knocked out by your Wukong. Ultimate to disengage. Now they don't have the ultimate for the fight. Feng, though, is managing to free hit. It's just not doing any damage because Seraphine Karma are extremely strong right now. I've just never seen a Zeri just like completely off to the side, completely untouched, constantly doing damage, and no damage really connecting. Zeri is weak, guys. Buff Zeri. Look at this. They're just running past the base turret. Aatrox can get completely kited by Feng, doesn't care. Full HP. Seraphine's balanced. Alright, Xiaoguang running at Renya, doing a ridiculous amount of damage with the Kraken Slayer. Alright, the ultimate comes out for Taric just as 116 disengages. You know, you love to see it. Oh no! It's a tragedy. But Max looking extremely dominant and strong with the draft adaptation of the 4/5 Sivir Karma. Basically camping Fountain at this point, taking almost no damage with their enchanters and taking over the game. Garvey most likely gonna get MVP for this one. Managed to outplay the level 3 dive. Just becoming an unkillable Aatrox. Only 1 death this entire game, and they had to 3-man him on bot T1 to get the kill. And when they did that, they gave up 2 turrets for it as well. So I'm thinking Aatrox Garvey is feeling pretty strong about that game. Max in general feeling pretty happy with their draft adaptation. Going in, seeing the Taric blind and saying, you know, this is a free double enchanter game. Looking extremely powerful. I'm wondering what do you do now? Like, Beyond Gaming, they've tried a couple of strategies, the Taric, Akali combo, or Nectar Sejuani, just going for nice holistic comps, but I think Max has just had good draft adaptations, good compositional thoughts going into everything that they do. So Max demonstrating a lot of flexibility. I think Beyond Gaming have really good ideas, right, that they're trying to play well. Like you expect an academy team when you're in an academy situation. You're learning overall compositions, like how do you play all in, how do you play poke, how do you play range, how do you play all of these different scenarios out. And Beyond Gaming, like flexing those muscles and working together with really straightforward compositions. But I think Max just demonstrating that they understand how to counter those compositions well, bringing out good adaptations in the draft, and then also just like really outplaying a lot of scenarios, right? There were a lot of good looks coming out from Beyond Gaming, right? The stacked waves into the level 3 dive, they couldn't get the play right on that, and then the top skirmish with 1116, Renya and Puyu that didn't quite play that well out for them. Med's able to kite it out extremely well. And then of course, you know, even towards the end of the game, like that Akali flank TP was really smart, right? Akali constantly taking small trades around the map to try to funnel a lot of gold into himself, and then not really able to get like the perfect fight off, either because of mistiming of TNS's ultimate or you know, Sejuani ultimate having not the best targeting. So we're gonna see the first play coming out from Garvey. Like did they even proc stun there? Garvey flashes, manages to get the kill and still mop up the 2 waves of CS. 116 takes down Kenny Chan here, but Meds, even though stunned, Garvey comes in at just the right moment to zone off the Akali and take him out. Puyu comes in, uses the stun pretty early on, and then not quite able to connect with Q at the end of the fight. Sejuani ultimate burned, and then Xiaoguang trying to turn the fight with On the Hunt. Double stun from TNS, but a little bit overzealous on the ultimate there. Garvey with the really big flank again. Look at him just decimating these HP bars. This was the fight where we're like, oh no. Like what the BYG do after this, right? This was terrifying. Reset off for the World Ender and just completely chases down Feng and TNS here. Even when he was caught a little bit out of position, you know, this was like once again good identification. No blast cone available. Kenny zoning Feng out of the fight. Let's see a little bit of TNS getting the flank off. Just probably pops the ulti a little bit too early. After Max committed over the wall. Renya not able to quite stun the correct target. Garvey is just like so unkillable, man. Like already Garvey is just too unkillable. And this was the flank play that we talked about from 1116. Takes out Meds, which, you know, you always want to do, right? You take out the sustain, like the main source of sustain, but I think at this point, like, Garvey is his own source of sustain. Like, look at how much HP he gets back from the World Ender. Just ridiculous! Now one last ditch effort, disengage, having to use the Taric ultimate to disengage. Kenny Chan waiting out the duration, and then just following up with the Cyclone. Alright. Aatrox Pog. It definitely feels like Beyond Gaming like have a concept of what they want to do, but it's not quite as sophisticated or advanced, and Max was just able to play out these scenarios better. And we are getting an MVP this particular game, but I will see you guys on the other side.
On a back street, hard knock life in a city grind. Gotta work hard, running out of time. But that's just the way it is. 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 So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you just judge me for my mistakes. Taking as much as I can take. So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me for my mistakes. Taking as much as I can take. Street light lit down in the grid. Can't turn back when I wanna quit. All of my tears, all of my fears got me shook up through all these years. And that's just the way it is. 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 So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me for my mistakes. Taking as much as I can take. So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me for my mistakes. Taking as much as I can take. Don't you judge me. Don't you judge me on my mistakes. I said, don't you judge me anymore. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me on my mistakes. I'm taking as much as I can take. So don't knock me down when I get my feet back on the ground. Don't you judge me on my mistakes. I'm taking as much as I can take. Taking as much as I can take. Taking as much as I can take.
Hello, and welcome back to the Asian Star Challengers Invitational. I am your host and your caster, Kelsey. We do get the MVP from the last game, and it was Garvey. I think, to the shock of no one, with that tremendous Aatrox World Ender performance, just immediately turning around the Sejuani or next to dive on the top lane. in level 3 and then taking over the game from there, effectively unkillable with both the Seraphine and the Karma shielding going on top of his world ender going into these fights. So no big surprise there for the previously 80 flexed LGD bot laner. He is a top laner by trade, but you know, did have to play bot for a little bit there last year. Always a fun time to reminisce on the unfortunate situation that LGD found themselves in there. But looking quite strong for Max in that particular game. We do see Max Gaming on stage here. Also, quite enjoyed the spacing performance in fights from Meds, and you know, overall, just they're doing well. We get the zoom in on the Max Gaming. We are on the verge of having all 3 LDL teams qualify for the semifinals, so that is very exciting. I'm looking forward to that one. To see the semifinals will, by the way, resume for us on the 22nd. I believe Mazel will be casting the first one of those. But we have the Wukong first pick once again coming out from Max. Beyond Gaming choosing to stay on the red side, and once again, they're avoiding blinding their AD here. It looks like we've got Aatrox after, you know, that priority. They're like, oh, that champion looked pretty good, you know. Maybe we should pick that one up. The Eclipse Aatrox, by the way, is actually an absolute true menace. Also, thank you, by the way, to everyone for the birthday wishes. I'm seeing them in chat now. Appreciate that. So happy I could spend my, I'm not gonna say what birthday it is, but so happy that I could spend my birthday here. Oh, the Fiora Aatrox matchup, by the way, very interesting if he locks this in. I think at the moment, Aatrox is just so powerful that you're actually favored in this matchup for the first time in years, pretty much since the release of Aatrox. Champion just like does a ridiculous amount of damage, especially with the Eclipse, right? You're in a position where you're just out damaging Fiora in trades, regardless of like what Q or W of whatever she chooses to parry. You just out sustaining that damage. So very annoying champion is the Aatrox, but still some situations where you can find some skill, where you can kite out the Qs, manage to get some trade damage back. So people still think of this matchup as a bit of a counter, but I think it's a little bit favored for Aatrox at the moment. So interesting matchup to watch. Maybe we'll get to see a little bit of that on the top lane, and we'll get to see Garvey bring it to our friend Puyu a little bit. I think top lane has definitely been like maybe the most interesting matchup so far in terms of relative like skill back and forth. I think last game didn't necessarily show Puyu's strengths, but the previous game I think we saw some interesting interactions in that lane. Anyway, in terms of looking at the AD picks, they're actually just bypassing the Zeri entirely. They're picking the Aphelios into the Sivir. Aphelios works really well if you see a Sivir composition usually, because you're expecting an all-in composition and then he just does a ridiculous amount of damage. Also, he has a lot more potential to play the lane out aggressively, right? Excuse me, this is something that I've been talking to some of the play-in teams, like coaching staffs and stuff like this, and just asking them about, because different regions like have prioritized Aphelios a little bit more. Just a lot of the aggressive lane trading potential is something that they really value from the Aphelios, which has made them deprioritize this area a little bit, and the Sivir a little bit to an extent. But if I do like, once again, the adaptation that we're seeing out of Max, picking the Swain on the 4-5, you see the Aatrox, you see the Vi, you see the short range Aphelios, and you're like, you know what? I have a feeling this composition is going to try to run into me, so I'm just going to pick Swain. I'm going to pop ulti and make it very difficult for them to deal with that. If Vi chooses to ult on top of me, he's going to have to deal with my Zhonya's and my, basically, huge flock of swarming crows. And then Nautilus coming out as a very common blind, especially in the LPL. I don't necessarily know if Nautilus is the greatest blind pick here, a blind pick option here, but a lot of teams, I think of it as a relatively safe blind overall. I think this is not, once again, like there's options for both teams, right? I do think the Swain is just a very smart pick here, and Vi doesn't immediately come out to me as extremely good into Sivir. I think Sivir has the spell shield answer into Vi, so I think it is not too straightforward that Vi seems like exceptional in this situation, but after level 3, Vi still has a lot of trading potential. Vi can still do a lot of damage to other members of the team that aren't Sivir and Swain, so just some options for BYG, but I still favor, I think in this particular game, Max's draft just seems a little bit better into Beyond Gaming's draft. We'll see if they can make this a 3-0 and secure the spot for all 3 LDL teams into the semifinals. Or if Beyond Gaming can take a game for us, because I thought this was going to be the closest series of the 4, and so if they don't take a game yet, that's a little bit of egg on my face. No, nothing personal, but Max are playing really well regardless, so can't be mad. All right, we are getting on to the Rift. Of course, we do say that I slightly favor Max's draft, but, you know, Beyond Gaming does have a Leona into a Nautilus, so that's at least one and an Aatrox into a Fiora, so that's at least a couple winning matchups for them that they can make some plays off of. And the Aphelios is still pretty nice into the Wukong server. Okay, Puyu might be first blood here. Looks like, yep, it looks like we are seeing Meds secure that first blood for the lane. Ahri can get pushed initially, right? Obviously, Ahri wants to make a lot of things happen in the side lanes in this particular situation, off of the laning phase. But Swain going to come back to lane with a little bit of extra firepower, most likely, or just not back at all. Yep, not backing yet. Saving items for saving gold for game 4. I'm kidding. Should be able to just easily get it back in this lane and then be able to spend the gold there. Swain's not going to get, even for, like, if, let's say he gets an amped home or something, right? A little bit of extra gold. Not necessarily going to translate super well into lane dominance versus the Ahri, regardless, as a Swain. But Puyu going down. Oh, nice snare onto 116. And of course, you know, what kills do give is maybe a little bit of extra XP. Grabs the level 2. Ahri probably gonna have to burn a little bit of pots. You know, Meds enjoying some, I mean, that trade's not gonna go well for you, Shinmo. But Meds enjoying some extra cookies. A big fan of snacks. We'll see, we'll have to judge him by how aggressively he plays this lane to justify the cookies. Feng, relatively low HP, so I'm assuming Renya's just gonna cover this lane to make sure that they can get this wave in. Shouldn't be too much coming out of this presence here. Meanwhile, Kenny Shan knows that bot is feeling a bit volatile, goes for the invade, sees Fiora getting the priority in level 1 as she should acquire, and looks for the invade while Renya just looking a little bit, you know, as we say, looking for lunch, looking for something that isn't wasting his time, going to be caught on this ward, and nicely coming out for Kenny Chan here in terms of just pathing and he has some CS. I will say, Kenny Chan has consistently been able to get a lot of these farm leads throughout the series. Oh, Xia Guang may be caught out looking for a ward in the tri-brush. doesn't get to drop the pixel, but Shimo burns the flash. Looks like they might try for another follow-up again here with Xiaoguang relatively low HP, since you do have a bit of a HP bonus on the shield now. I don't think much should come from this, so Runya just backing off here. Yeah, so Puyu getting a little bit of a favorable trade, as we mentioned when we talked about this matchup in the pick and ban. Puyu able to stack up this wave on the bounce back. Alright, so Puyu stacking this wave. Probably will not do much with it. We'll probably just back, because Fiora already has the Sheen available. But we'll probably just like make sure this wave goes in and then recall. Might choose to hold on to the TP since we are so close to level 6. But if Garvey is left alone on the level 6 wave and he doesn't TP back, it can be a little bit dangerous for this lane matchup. So yeah, he is going to choose the TP to make sure that Garvey doesn't get an uncontested level 6 advantage. Shimo, as is very and TNS both looking to hover on this next wave. Typically, we see the wave that's coming in mid. This is where mid laners usually get level 6, so it's very common for supports to hover here to guarantee that that happens. Alright, so Ahri gets level 6, but Shimo's there to try to prevent them from getting the wave in, which means there shouldn't be a free roam available for 1116 on this game. Beyond Gaming do look like they're gonna go for this dragon. Let's see, Kenny Shen doesn't quite have level 6, Xiaoguang is on the bot wave. Doesn't necessarily want to leave the creep, so this will be an advantage for Beyond Gaming. They do take down the Nautilus, but I mean, this is a 4v5 trade. Kenny Chen taking out the TNS by flashing over the wall. Meds with the popping the ultimate. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for our friends Beyond Gaming. Sivir also pushing away at this bot lane. Feng is going to miss out at least on half a wave here. And a free play for Xiaoguang. Oh no, there's no support available. TNS still coming out of base. Feng's going to go down as well. And it's just obliteration for Max against Beyond Gaming right now. Let's take a look at some of the targeting in this fight, because, you know, it starts out looking pretty decent for Beyond, right? They get on top of, they engage onto the support, but Meds just not getting attacked at all, taking a ton of free damage. 116 goes down right away. Feng not able to really get into the fight, get a lot of DPS off. And it's, I mean, the flash to secure the kill from Meds. 2 kills on both Kenny Chen and Meds, who have been so important for the success of this Max Gaming team. They are maximizing gold distribution. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I promise I won't make a joke like that again for the rest of the stream. I promise. Yeah, there's just, I mean, Feng just not really able to get any meaningful damage off. So the fact that Sivir was bot and wailing away on that turret, picking up 2 plates and denying like a full wave and a half of CS, right, just didn't meaningfully matter. And then after that, it was just Leona Vi committing into this newly level 6 Swain. Pull up from the Nautilus. Feng! Oh no, it's just this is a Puyu, meanwhile top has to flash, Garvey following up. Oh no, guys. If you're Beyond Gaming in this situation, well, they're looking mid. This could be a kill. Meds doesn't have a lot of, does have the hourglass available. And goes down. So one nice thing is that Meds has turned gold into a support item. So even though, you know, this is relatively common and they do have a lot of damage coming out from the Fiora, coming out from the Sivir, a lot of their gold is going into this like more kind of supportive build, less into pure damage. It's one bright spot. Meanwhile, you have Sivir with a completed Kraken Slayer. Fung getting got out bot, probably gonna go down again to Kenny Chen. Kenny Chen now with a scoreline of 4-0-3. Xiaoguang. Oh, nice flash coming out. Wow, even though 1116 and TNS managed to get on top of him for the stun, he does have the spell shield available, has the cleanse, and the flash, manages to get out of the situation just under tower. Doesn't get the plate that he wanted, so small victories. That is looking a little juicy on this mid wave as Runya and TNS look for the flank. I think they're pretty aware that they're in this top side. Yep, Shimo drops the ward. They're gonna stun onto the Nautilus, but the shield is up for him. Q doesn't quite connect, so Runya gets out of that one. Max looking very dominant, out for blood, ever since they finished off that game against Edward Gaming Youth. In the group stage, they've looked very convincing. Quite like their draft adaptations. Doesn't connect, manages to just stand just off of the solar flare. Cleanse getting the stun. Then of course manages to make his way out without the damage from 1116 connecting. Puyu getting some free plates on the top sides. What happened to Garvey? Did we miss that? Where'd he go? Maybe we'll get a replay. It looks like the Aatrox being absolutely disgusting as a champion did manage to pay off a little bit. So, you know, Beyond Gaming, small victories here. Okay, we are going to see it. Garvey, relatively low HP, low mana here. Not a lot of options available for him. Oh, we had a gank top. Okay, so Runya manages to get the ult off. Small parry. Did he die there? That is unfortunate. That's a little unlucky, as they say. Well, this does use of the Ari ultimate, and unfortunately, however, Puyu goes down from a combination of Kenny Chen and Garvey taking him out. And then Shimo connects on to TNS, and he goes down as well. So, oh, Shimo flashes forward, burns one of the flashes from Beyond Gaming. Nautilus ult depth charge comes in. Max collapse onto Renya. Fiora picks off 1116 under tower. This Fiora is looking, Garvey is looking like he wants to repeat his MVP performance, securing a lot of these kills under the turret, popping the ultimate. Coming through for them. But Kenny Chan, honestly, has just been in really good positions constantly. Look at him zoning out Puyu here, almost solo. Good follow from Garvey. Nice positioning from Meds. Takes out TNS, whoever commits. Shimo gets the passive snare off from the auto attack. Garvey looks for the flank, goes deep. Renya not able to get the knockoff, but Garvey does get stunned. Zoned out. Manages to take out 1116 here, but I mean, really just, honestly, I think that fight was played best by Mets and Kenny Chen. I think Mets and Kenny Chen played that fight extremely well, just in terms of like the sway and positioning, Wukong follow-up, etc. But Garvey did walk away with the kills, so gotta give some props to the Fiora player, who's going to have a lot of gold for pressuring side lane. Even though I think right now the Aatrox with the Eclipse build is nothing to sneeze at, can definitely still come out with some trade advantages here. If people are wondering what this is, if you're just tuning in now, this is a tournament called the Asia Star Challengers Invitational, which features the Academy/Challenger teams of 5 regions: LJL, VCS, PCS, LPL, and LCK. So far, we are watching the 4th quarterfinal of 4, of course. Featuring Max, which is the 3rd seed LDL team in the tournament, and BYGA Gaming Academy from PCS. Max are on the verge of emerging into the semifinals with the 3-0. If they manage to secure this semifinals berth, that will be 3 of 3 LDL teams making it to the semifinals, with only T1 Challenger being the odd team out. Max will be facing T1 Challenger, with the other semifinal, if they win this game, with the other semifinal being FPX Blaze versus Edward Gaming Youth. And while I did have Max favored in this series, I did think it would be a bit closer. I think the previous 2 games were a little bit closer than this, but obviously this one started off with the first blood. Up, Xiaoguang connecting the ultimate getting the ultimate, getting ulted on. Kenny Chen coming in, though, for the flank, the return play. 116 will probably go down here. Shinmo just going to help clean that one up with meds. A little pick off of onto Xiaoguang doesn't quite work out, and Max turned the situation around. Max have done a really good job of kind of baiting in the series, standing on vision or on line brush, making it seem like someone's out of position, and BYG have always collapsed. I will say, BYG, very Chad in the way they're playing a lot of these bait situations. They just always assume that the enemy player is alone, regardless of whether they are or not. So we see Kenny Chan standing on this pink ward. Playing really, really hard with the ultimate, followed up by the solar flare. Kenny Chan getting the flank with the Cyclone. TP in from Mets to secure the 1116, get the kill on the 116. Looks like TNS having to force the stasis. 116 going down once again. Garvey treading through the fight. Triple kill for Xiaoguang. We did not see how that fight started, but looks like Garvey took the advantage off of winning that fight. TP to the top lane and then is taking out the inhib turret here. Puyu is up and available, but we're also seeing Meds, Shimo, and Xiaoguang siege onto this mid inhib turret. Alright, so we do see how the fight starts off here. BYG looking for a flank on to Xiaoguang once again. Not quite getting what they bargained for. With Max ready to collapse and fall out. Basically the same as what we were talking about here. But meanwhile, you know, Kenny Chen is actually out of position in this situation. But unfortunately Garvey taking... Oh no, guys! We are 24-4. 13,000 gold in, or excuse me, yes, 13,000 gold in the lead. Max just marching boldly into the base. We did not even see how Puyu died, but we are on the wave mid. Feng should be able to clear this one out, but 2 inhibitors going down. Max will almost assuredly secure the game on the next push. Baron looking prime for the taking. BYG will have to answer waves coming in both bot and mid, which makes Baron very easy to secure for Max. Once again, Beyond Gaming find Kenny Chan in a position that looks like it's out of position. He just falls up, locks down 116 on his own. Just, I mean, at this point, as they say, Max is just smacking Beyond Gaming with their wallets. Didn't even have to ult there, just did it for fun, you know? Like, I have an ult, may as well pop it. Good times. And this is going to be the game, everyone. TNS grabbed on the snare right before Max secure the final finish. Just going to slowly chip away, get some extra CS for padding, and that goes down. So this is Max, the 3rd seed LDL team, making an enormous statement against Beyond Gaming Academy. If I am T1 right now, I am terrified of Max. And that will be it for this series. I think, looking over at the performance, I think the Swain pick was very good. Coach doing a great job drafting and responding to situations set up by Beyond Gaming throughout the series. Flexing 3 different types of compositions. One at the start with the hard engaged dive from Vi. In the second game with the double enchanters composition and the Aatrox. And then into the third game with a basically reactive composition, a composition that forced the enemy team to come into them to turn the situation around with the spell shield from the Sivir, the ultimate from Swain, and then of course the Fallout Flame from Wukong. So extremely impressive and extremely multifaceted victory coming out from Max. Really excited to see what they can do, especially if they go up once again against Edward Gaming or Fun plus Phoenix Blaze in the final. They're looking extremely strong. We could see some upsets there. Or, you know, maybe T1 as the lone representative remaining from the Korean Challengers comes in and knocks them out completely to make it a Korea versus China final, or an LDL versus KR Challenger final. Either one sounds like an extremely fitting or exciting end to this tournament. I assume we're going to get an MVP coming out for this game in a little bit, but it's been great. Thanks everyone for watching the series with me to start off my birthday. I'm not going to say how old I am. It's a little embarrassing, but appreciate everyone hanging out with me. I do like, I just noticed the Tarek fan. I didn't notice that before. It's a good one. I don't think that was necessarily TNS's champ. We're gonna say that it wasn't necessarily TNS's champ there. I think the Amumu performance was pretty nice. If I'm Beyond Gaming, really appreciate it watching them throughout the course of this tournament. Really appreciated seeing their adaptations and seeing what they could come with. They came into each game with very solid compositions that had clear identities. Understood generally the win conditions they needed to have, started to play for trades when they fell behind. Also, the only team to go 6-0 in the group stage, so very impressive performance by them overall in this tournament, despite this showing today. I think 1116 has been exciting to watch. The Akali found ways to bring his team back into the game in the previous match. Obviously pretty exciting from Beyond Gaming, so appreciate watching them in this event as well, and hoping that we'll see them, many of their players again in the future. Now we're getting the highlight rollout. Good positioning once again from Meds. Kenny Chan able to stand between TNS and 116. Meds flashing to steer the kill on Renya. Shimo misses the hook, but manages to flash auto secure the snare onto Renya under tower. Xiaoguang popping on the hunt and chasing TNS down here. But yeah, very dominant performance to close the series. Max wants their semifinals opponent to feel the terror, so to speak. Garvey doesn't quite get the repost. Doesn't matter. Pops the ult. Faces down Puyi with the flash. Good zoning coming out from Kenny, just finding really, really good flank angles over and over throughout the series. Nice Cyclone. Wukong priority, justified very much so by both of these teams. Snare coming to pull 116 in for Garvey's kill. Garvey gets the double, followed by Shimo's hook. Even though, see, I can't believe it has to be so demoralizing when Xiaoguang doesn't even die there, you know? It has to feel so hopeless at that point, but once again, Beyond Gaming can take a lot away from this series. A lot away from this tournament appearance. They had a lot of good showings. Max, though, once again, I'm extremely excited for Meds. Meds has played just, I think for me, he's the series MVP. We called out the mid matchup as being the one to watch at the top of the day. I think for sure he's demonstrated that he can go toe to toe with a world championship veteran. Obviously not a world champion veteran, but has attended the world championship. And then of course, just honestly a huge bright spot of the team. Kenny Chen obviously has gotten a lot of accolades, a lot of praise. I think Kenny Chen is close to the top of the MVP ring litter, right? He's secured quite a few MVPs so far. He's in third place after Ching and Leave. Let's see if we can get him another MVP here for this and make it a three-way tie for some of our LDL representatives. And he does grab it. Now 4 MVPs throughout this tournament for Leave, Ching, and Kenny Chan. Means all of the LDL teams have an MVP leader in their midst. So kind of it's definitely not disputing this one. I think Kenny Chen deserved it for sure. Constantly throughout the course of the series, finding advantages in the jungle, finding ways to come out with the win there. So that's going to be it for me today. I will be back on the 23rd, most likely, to cast one of the semifinals for you all. And Mazel will be back on the 22nd to bring us an exciting LDL Finals rematch between FunPlus Phoenix Blaze and Evergaming Youth. I think that's going to be a really fun thing to watch. I hope everyone tunes in for that. So thanks everyone once again, and see you around.